Fellas, the amount of secret events, rooms, loot puzzles that exist inside of Arc Raiders is staggering. And it's completely understandable if most of you don't even know what they are, or what they do, or how to complete them. Which is why today's video, we're going to be walking through each of these events. We're going to be going over several in-game puzzles, as well as key loot rooms, so that you can earn the most loot possible. And believe me guys, this is going to net you fantastic drops. Everything from epics to even potential legendaries. But first, let's talk dynamic events. You see, inside of Arc Raiders, there are these dynamic map events, and these will alter your experience topside for a limited amount of time. Each event lasts for 1 hour, and they cycle between maps throughout the day. Now, when you go to select a map, you can tell an event is active if a little icon is present right next to the map name. Then clicking on the map will give you some basic information, but it doesn't really fully explain what to actually do during these events. Hence the purpose for this video. Let's start with Launch Tower Loot. Launch Tower Loot may be one of the most confusing events in the game, but it's also one of the most rewarding events. On Asera Spaceport, there is a giant launch tower. It's in the center of the map, and it's really hard to miss. Normally, you can take these zip lines to the top, kill a couple pops, some fireballs, and get some okay loot. But during this event, the zip lines are blocked, and the only way to access them is to find a fuel cell and then carry it to one of the generators on either side of the tower. You essentially pick it up, carry it up to the launch pad beneath the tower, and then depositing the fuel cell, you can then pull the lever, which will open the doors leading to the zip lines. Now, once you're up top, you'll need to clear the room of arc units, and I highly suggest guys putting down something like jolt mines or explosive mines in front of these zip lines, because yes, a lot of people are probably going to try to sneak you. Next, you need to take out the Rocketeer. Now, I know guys, I'm hitting you with a lot of stuff right now, and you're probably like, Cross, you've already lost me, but it's not too terrible. If you got a Pharaoh, you can peek out, shoot his front thrusters, and if he shoots at you, you can just simply dive back inside. Rinse and repeat this until he's dead. Then you can take the stairs to the top of the tower. From there, you'll be able to jump across the gap to access the other side of the tower. You can then clear out the room on this side like you did previously, and now you can start the events. You see, at the very top of the tower, there are 2 panels on each side of the gap. Activating both of these will start an alarm, and it will spawn in a ton of hornets and wasps. You'll retreat back inside and slowly pick off the drones from cover until all of them are dead. Now, going back up to the top of the tower, there will now be 2 crates you can loot by the buttons you just actuated. Now guys, the loot here truly is epic. We're talking weapons like Volcano, Bobcats, Tempest, etc., and other goodies that you can take back home. Now after you loot, you can head back to the zip lines you came up earlier. The fuel cell only opens the doors on one side, not both, so you can only exit the way you came. Now, a word of warning here guys, do not try to jump the gap while encumbered. If you really need to take everything, drop some items, jump across, and then you can just go back and grab the rest, and then just jump across again. Now let me just say, this is one of the harder events, and expect a lot of PvP and a lot of PvE. There's a Rocketeer guarding the base of the launch pad. Plenty of raiders are going to be itching for a chance to steal your loot, so raiders, be prepared. Now this brings us to uncovered caches. Now this is the icon associated with the uncovered caches event, but essentially during the uncovered caches event, raider caches will be revealed, but after a short period of time, they will explode. So you pretty much need to loot them somewhat quickly. Raider caches are normally marked with a small red sign and a white arrow, and when you approach one, you'll hear a quiet ticking noise. Now, raider caches usually contain an assortment of basic supplies like ammo, bandages, shields, etc. They're also a decent source of XP. The interactive map is one of the best ways to know the locations for all of these. It's community source data on all possible raider cache spawn locations amongst everything else in the game. Now, this brings us to something else to look out for, guys, and that's prospecting probes. During a match, you may have noticed these rockets that take off and land randomly across the map. Now, these are arc probes, and they contain a lot of arc materials. During the prospecting probes event though, which is notified by this icon here, a ton of these arc probes will spawn. Some will be damaged, others will be active. Now the active probes will be standing upright with a very distinct pinging noise that will be repeating. They also make a ton of noise while you're breaching them. But let me just say, guys, the rewards are well worth the risk here. These are a great source of arc circuitry and motion cores. Now, the circuitry are things that you need to craft medium shields and power rods, and the motion cores are used to upgrade your refiner to level 2 and craft things like the magnetic accelerator, which is a part used to craft the equalizer and Jupiter. What I really want you to beat in on when it comes to these events, guys, is like if there is a particular resource that you're trying to go after, take advantage of when you see these events pop up. They just net you way more materials, and in many cases, there's just a lot more available. Now, this takes us to the Harvester events. Now, this is one of the pinnacle events, if not the pinnacle event currently in the game. You've probably seen this Ark spaceship looking thing that is guarded by the Queen, which is currently the most difficult Ark in the entire game. Now, you have three options when entering this event. Number one, you can completely avoid it, because let's be honest, who wants to risk dying to the Queen? Number two, though, you can group up with players in the lobby to fight the Queen. And again, if you kill the Queen, you can earn a reactor in the process. But there's also option number three. You can sneak past the Queen and complete the Harvester puzzle. Now, in this last option, I want to explain this in detail. You see, you need to approach the Harvester from behind the Queen, who is slowly circling the craft. And as you approach the Harvester, you'll notice it periodically shoots off rockets and it spits fire out of its three entrances. Now, this happens every 45 seconds, but your first priority is not to be inside when this happens, unless you fancy yourself being extra crispy. Now, when you reach one of the entrances, you'll need to breach the door to access the interior. Once inside, there will be one black canister lying on the ground. Your job is to find the other two. You'll hop onto these elevators and you'll start breaching every panel on the wall. Now, if you finish a breach and it says search, keep looking, and if you see another black canister, pick it up and drop it down on the first floor. Now, throughout this whole process, the Harvester will still fill with flames every 45 seconds. But before it does, it will sound an alarm and the room will turn yellow, and as soon as this happens, the exits will open and you can run out to safety. Now, I will mention, guys, you do want to exit on the side furthest from the Queen and just stand right past this line on the floor so that the fire doesn't damage you. Now, essentially, you want to rinse and repeat this process until you have all three black canisters on the bottom level. And the next step is to interact with the central core of the Harvester at three different spots. Doing so will open three receptacles that you can deposit the black canisters into. This will start the next phase. Here you'll notice yellow protrusions will start to appear from the walls, and your next task is to damage all of them until they break. Now, they take a lot of damage, guys, so yes, you do want to have some good damaging weapons. I do recommend shooting the ones on top. You can melee the ones on bottom, but blast with everything you got. You can jump and use your melee, though. Essentially, when you jump and hit your melee, you can melee vertically, and this will make contact much more often than using your melee normally, as that's a horizontal swing. Now, during this time, the Harvester has another way of dealing with you. It has an electrical purge that if it hits you, it will damage your shields. Let me just say, guys, this thing can break your shields very fast, and I'm talking about fully breaking your shields, almost to the point where you may even want to just take your shields off or bring an extra one. Now, if you're not fast enough throughout this process, the Harvester will cleanse the inside with fire again, and when this happens, the yellow protrusions will disappear. Now, I know, guys, this is hectic as hell. You'll have to reinsert the canisters to return to the yellow protrusions and then complete the mechanic. But once all of them are destroyed, the puzzle is complete. Three caches will appear from the core and should contain at least one equalizer and one Jupiter blueprint. Put these in your safe slots, so even if you die, you return home with the most important drops. You can then feel free to loot the rest of the Harvester if you have space for even more Ark components and energy ammo, which is what's used to fire legendary weapons. So definitely pick those up, guys. Now, after that, you just want to make it home safely. Hopefully you got like a Raider hatch key, lots of smokes, and you can beeline and get out as quickly as you can. Now, I do want to mention a couple of things, though. The Rocketeer can easily spot you out in the open, so you may even want to consider killing the Rocketeer before you leave the Harvester. And on top of that, other players can also be a huge issue. Many Raiders like to hide in the rocks, wait for you to leave, and then pick you off in the open. This is why smokes here are so valuable, to ensure you make it out safely, or as safely as you can. Once back home, you can consume the legendary blueprints, learning the recipe for later once you have a level 3 gunsmith. Now, this takes us to our next event and one of the most profitable events in the game, and that is Husk Graveyard, as marked by this icon here. We talked about this in our Ark Raiders tip video, which you should definitely watch, but during this event, essentially more husks will spawn across the map. Now, a lot of them will be electrified. This means that when you go to open them, electricity will stun you. Now, you can dodge out of the way right before breaching the hole, but afterwards you want to search the hole. Now, at least from my experience, I normally always get damaged Ark components, but during Husk Graveyard, there's a much higher chance, if not a guaranteed chance, that these items are not damaged. You can find drivers for Wasps, Hornets, Rocketeers, all in perfect condition. And I do recommend targeting the Rocketeers on damn battlegrounds, as these are worth 5,000 coins each. And guys, keep in mind, you can go in with a free loadout, like I did here, load into this activity in this event, and here I go walking away with 15 to 20,000 coins. The area surrounding the old battlegrounds is littered with Rocketeer husks, setting you up to earn massive amounts of money in a very short period of time. Now, different drone drivers survivors are also required to upgrade the gear bench and gunsmith, so loot as many as you can and check those workbench progressions for items you may need. Now this takes us to our next event, Lush Blooms. Lush Blooms is mainly important because you'll need fruits for upgrading your cock, that being Scrappy. Scrappy likes pears, he likes olives, and he wants a lot of them. And pretty much every single upgrade is going to require fruit. And upgrading Scrappy is incredibly valuable as he nets us a ton of passive materials. Essentially though, during the Lush Blooms events, not only are you going to have a much higher chance of getting fruits, but you also have fruit baskets that you can walk up to that can be spread out around the map that will net you a ton of fruit, like way more than actually picking it from the trees themselves. Like straight up, I got like 4 or 5 olives from a single basket. And again, do keep in mind guys, you can literally run in there with a free loadout and just take advantage of these events. Now this takes us to night raids. Now night raids are technically called map conditions, but they function exactly the same way as events. Now it's pretty self-explanatory. You're playing on the same map, except it's nighttime. But during a night raid, there are fewer return points, there are no raider hatches, but loot value will be greatly increased. So much so that a lot of people like to double stack, turning their keys in during nighttime raids. But let me just say guys, it is substantially more dangerous. There's a lot more arc and a lot more dangerous arc. There's also a lot more loot hungry players with better gear who are all being funneled into fewer extract points, which creates a lot more opportunities for PvP. In my opinion guys, when it comes to night raids, and I especially like night raids when I'm doing trials, because when you're trying to go for those 3-star completions, which do guarantee you an epic drop. And again, we'll talk more about trials in the next video. Night raids are especially good for this, as there's just so much more arc to encounter. For instance, if you have to do damage to leapers, well then it's very likely you're going to run into more leapers during a night raid. And then on top of that, you'll get 2 times progression when doing damage to those leapers, thus satisfying that 3-star completion. And keep in mind guys, when it comes to doing 3-star trials, all you have to do is go in, do exactly what the objective is. It may be like, hey, you got to kill ticks, or hell, you may even have to pick fruit. You do these things until you get the 3-star clear, and you can actually pull up your map and it shows you your progression. And during something like a nighttime raid, you're getting double progress. And again, they're especially good when you're trying to do damage to arc, as there's just so much more arc during night raids. But keep in mind guys, you have to successfully extract in order for this to count. Now, if you do successfully extract, boom, upon doing so, you'll get the drops, including a guaranteed epic drop at the end of it. Now, this resets weekly guys. So at the time of this recording, we're still on the first week rotation, but there'll be a new rotation going into the second week. You pretty much want to target these every single week, as it just guarantees that epic drop. Now, if you've seen this icon on your maps, this is the Electromagnetic Storm. It's another map condition, but we will not be able to see this until November the 8th. However, it did pop up during the server slam. And let me just say guys, this is a very, very tough map condition. Lightning strikes are all over the place. Granted, before it hits you, it will create these blue circles of electricity on the ground. All you pretty much have to do is not stand in this circle and you'll be okay. But you'll be surprised how much this changes the battlefield. Not only you have to deal with enemy players and arc, but throw a lightning blast in the mix and hot damn is it chaotic. Now we'll have to wait until the 8th to see what the real benefits for playing during a storm is, but my guess is that it will be similar to night raids, so essentially more high-end loot. Now this brings us to Spaceport Bunker. During the Arc Raiders tech test, there was an event called the Hidden Bunker. This was located on a Sarah spaceport, and it required players to activate 3 antennas across the map before we'd open the bunker, allowing players to loot the inside. Now to my knowledge, we have yet to see this appear as an event since launch, but I wouldn't be surprised if it makes an appearance sometimes in the near future. Now I also want to bring up that Embark just released the roadmap of content for the next few months, and you may have noticed, quote, new map conditions. This was listed in the ongoing update section. Now this is next to a symbol of a lightning bolt, so probably referring to the Electromagnetic Storm, but that hasn't stopped some players from speculating. During the pre-order trailer, we see what appears to be a raider fighting the queen, and the sky is covered with drones, which is terrifying. Now will we see this variant added sometime soon? Who knows? But what we do know is in November, we'll receive a community unlock event. Most likely, this unlock event will be a one-time event, and once completed, we'll gain access to the 5th Arc Raiders map, Stella Montis. In December, we're slated to receive a new Snowfall map condition and the Flickering Flames event. Now, we've already been given a quick look at what the Snowfall map condition looks like, but honestly, zero clue on what the Flickering Flames could be. We'll just have to wait and see. Now, with all the events out of the way though, I do need to talk about secret puzzles. You see, unlike everything we've just mentioned, secret puzzles are things you can do at any time, under any condition. Now, all of the puzzles the community has discovered are located on the Blue Gate map map, and they can net you some pretty substantial loot, including epic weapons. Let's start with Raiders Refuge. Now, it's located here on the map, but once you arrive, you'll see a trapdoor next to this rundown building, and you'll need to hit 4 buttons randomly scattered around the building to open the bunker door. Now, these can be hidden quite well, but they do have a light on them, making them easier to spot. So be sure to thoroughly check every nook and cranny to locate all 4. Now, once you've hit them all, the door will open and you can access the loot inside. Now, keep in mind, a rocketeer and a snitch usually patrol this area, so be very careful or just take them down if you can. Now, similar to Raiders Refuge, there's also something called the Ancient Fort. The Ancient Fort has a similar puzzle which requires to open a trapdoor into a bunker. There will be 3 fuel cells that are scattered inside of this fort. Now, you'll follow these wires leading away from the bunker to locate each energy cell receptacle. Now, after depositing all 3, the bunker door will open. Now, this takes us to the Deforester Husk. Unlike the other 2 secret puzzles, the Deforester Husk will sometimes be active, and other times it's just completely dead. As best as I can tell from our runs, it's completely random. Sometimes it's on and other times it's off. Now, here's the location on the husk. Once you approach it, if you see sparks and a metal sheet spanning the inside of the opening, you can then complete the puzzle. All you need is 2 arc power cells. Now, if you don't have any, you can either take out some of the nearby arc, you can loot them from like these wasps here, or you can even bring some into the raid. But essentially, you want to insert one near the entrance to activate the flaming jets. Now, these jets will periodically emit fire. You'll walk past them to the second sparking receptacle and place the second arc power cell. Now, once both have been placed, you want to climb up the wreckage and walk back into the husk. You'll then interact with the floor to deactivate the flames, and then you can search the husk to get your loot. Now, let me just say, guys, this won't be as valuable as the other 2 puzzles, but still worth your time if you happen to pass by it.
Guys, apologies for my mic quality. I'm in the process of making this video while on the road, and lo and behold, we have discovered even more puzzles present on Blue Gate. Our 4th puzzle that we discovered is at the reinforced reception down the zipline. And right in front of you will be a console. You interact with it to reveal a color, and it will either be red, blue, or yellow. Now, you want to look for the same color on the wall, and then follow the arrows until you come across a container that looks like this. It will be very obvious where it is because this alarm will be blaring. Essentially, open it up and get your loot. Now, this takes us to the battery puzzle. You want to head back to the room with the console, and you need to look for a charger holding 3 batteries. It looks just like this, so check a few of these rooms. Now, all you need to do is carry these batteries one by one through this hallway, and then deposit them in this receptacle to open this large loot room. It'll have a weapon case, along with several other lootable containers, so definitely hit this one up. Now, this takes us to the final puzzle, which is underneath the warehouse complex. You essentially just want to go down the zip line and just follow the path to reach another console. Now, just like before, after you interact with it, a color will light up the screen. You then go down the zip line out the door with the correct color painted on the wall. You'll then come across another container with an alarm that you can loot.
Now, this takes us to key rooms. And I know these are pretty self-explanatory, but I just wanted to show you just in case. These are located on every map, and you can only enter these key rooms if you have the key for that specific room. Now, some keys you earn from quests, others you can get from the Raider deck, which again is like our battle pass. Now, when you get a key, you can look at it, and it'll tell you what map and what location it's used for. But you'll need to take this specific key to that specific location and find the door that it opens. Now, not all keys are created equal though. The rarity of the key will tell you how much loot you should expect to find. For instance, uncommon keys will net you above average loot, but epic keys will shower you with goodies. Or at least that's how it's supposed to be. I will say, guys, it's completely RNG. Uncommon keys have literally given me multiple epics, so don't completely discount them. Now, we've gone ahead and made a couple graphics showing the location where each key is used on each map. Now, I'm also going to list a playlist down below where Nico Kamiko has compiled short guides for each room that shows you exactly where it's located. Highly suggest though, guys, putting that key though in your safe slot. That way, if you do get killed, you don't lose it. Now, if you don't have a key, I do want to mention that the POIs on each map also has very valuable gear that you can loot. My favorite spot is the Plaza Rosa in Buried City. You can breach the door or even sneak in through this window, and there's always great loot in here, including high value trinkets and weapon mods. And the extract is just down below. get in, get out, and make away with some pretty good items. So fellas, that's it. I know it's kind of a long video here. Again, as Arc Raiders continues to evolve and progress, we'll probably have even more stuff to add to this list. Let me just say though, I love these events. They change the way I play the game up constantly. And I also love the map conditions. These are the things that make Arc Raiders feel so fresh every single run. Let me know in the comments below though, guys, what you think. Fellas and ladies, thank you all for coming and watching. And as always,
Slap that like button like your mama told you right.